Hello everybody, my name is Ellisa Cooper and this is Cooking in Quarantine. So today I had planned to do something entirely different, but when you get up and go out and find that something that is integral to your plan is not really available, you have to get up quickly and figure out how to pivot, so they would say. So this is a pivot. I had thought about this a little bit in the last few days. Everybody else was on the bread baking kick earlier in quarantine, and I was unable to find yeast for such a big part of that time. And then I find myself now awash in yeast. So hello, Denise. I am going to make this little recipe that I found that is literally titled Shockingly Easy, No Need Focaccia. I'm going to make a half batch because I am not a this much focaccia kind of person, not in one day. But if this is as shockingly easy as they say it will be, it might be a new friend of mine. So, what do we start with? It's not a lot of ingredients. I've got here some flour, all-purpose flour. It calls for an envelope of dry yeast, 2 teaspoons of honey, 5 cups of all-purpose flour, 5 teaspoons of diamond crystal salt, or 1 tablespoon of Morton kosher salt. I found that interesting. And I know that there's a difference, but that's a pretty big difference in volume. 6 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 4 tablespoons of butter, flaky sea salt, and 2 to 4 garlic cloves. So like I said, I'm going to have this recipe because I've never made it before, and I am a novice bread baker at best, and I do not want to have piles and piles and piles of hopelessly miserable focaccia looking at me and forcing me to run down a couple miles to Grand Daisy to get proper focaccia. So anyway, let's see what's going to happen here. So I'm going to need to get myself, how much water does it say? 2.5 cups of lukewarm water. Interesting that that wasn't mentioned on the list of ingredients. I'm already skeptical of this. So let's see what we get going here. Pardon my arms. I had everything out except I wasn't prepared for the 2.5 cups of lukewarm water. So let's go here. That's 2. I'll keep the 4. Pardon me. I'll just stick that right there where it's not so. Oh goodness, I have schmutz on me. So let's see. My water is quite hot. So I'm going to let my water run just for a second so it'll get warm. And I'm going to need my teaspoon of honey. So let's get that there. Why don't we just eyeball this? Where is my teaspoon? There it is. So here's a teaspoon. I'm gonna, you're not really ever gonna get all of the honey back out of your little teaspoon. So I'm gonna call that almost a perfect teaspoon. Right? Everybody agree? Teaspoon? Looks right to me. Let's see how lukewarm my water is. My water is lukewarm. So let's go here for 2.5 cups. Ta-da. There's 2 cups and there's 2.5 cups. Am I correct? Am I level? Let's find out. I'm a little shy. Let's do this. Perfect. 2.5 cups of slightly warmer than lukewarm water. So I'm going to pour this on top of my honey because I want the honey to certainly dissolve into this lukewarm water that I'm about to put now. I'm not going to do an envelope. I'm going to do 1 1/8 teaspoon. That should be good yeast. So there's my teaspoon. 1 teaspoon. Seems about right. Perfect. And here's my quarter. So I want 1/8. I'm going to take seems pretty much half. And it says to whisk it up. I could find my whisk. I could do some whisking. So anyway, I was going to today, I've got a little honey or a little yeast or something on my finger. I was going to make my Bloody Mary mix, but I could not find my preferred brand of tomato juice. And all I could find is my least favorite brand of tomato juice. So no Bloody Marys today. I'm going to close this back up and put it away. But that's where you go. So now we're supposed to wait here for 5 minutes. So let's wait for 5 minutes. So one of the things that I did this morning, it's a gorgeous, it is an absolutely perfect spring day here in New York. It's about, this morning when I left the house, it was probably about 65 degrees, not a cloud in the sky, sunny and beautiful. I walked out of my front door and went east towards Union Square to go to the market. And as I walked, there were very few people in the street. It's lovely. There's nothing quite so nice. Please, I don't mean to put a good spin on a bad situation, but there's really nothing quite so lovely as New York when it's empty. For those of us who live here, we can attest to that. I'm sure those of you who come here to visit, that's not exciting for you. Am I supposed to put anything more? The yeast, the honey, and the water in a bowl and let it sit for 5 minutes. It should foam, or at least get creamy. So here I guess I'm doing the right thing. And then the next thing I'm going to do is put my flour and my kosher salt is going to go into there. So I could probably start measuring that stuff out, couldn't I? Oh, look, it's starting to bubble and come alive. This is fermentation right here, guys. I don't want to muck with it too much, but wowee, right in the middle, you can see the fermentation happening. Isn't it wonderful? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your process. So anyway, where was I? So I get to Union Square, and I actually was a scofflaw today, and I stepped over the police tape and just walked right in on 16th Street, rather than walking all the way over to 4th Avenue and 14th Street to stand in line to walk in. So there you go. I've admitted my mistakes, but I didn't realize what I was doing at the time. So anyway, why is New York winning? New York is winning because New Yorkers are 100% compliant with the mask wearing. I did not see one person. I did see one dad who was there who was frankly a little too old to be the dads of such tiny children, who seemed a little weary and weary for sure. And I could maybe see a curvature of a nostril, but I think that's because he had bent down too many times this morning. And so here we are, that the rest of the country is starting to peak and spike and have really a bad time with Corona. And in New York, we are sailing right on through and continuing to have lowering numbers. People will continue to be infected, but it will be at such slow numbers that we're not going to overwhelm our systems. So kudos to New Yorkers for that. And it was great, especially on such a beautiful day where everybody would want to scofflaw if they could. So scofflaw. Scofflaw is one of my very, 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 very favorite words. Those of you who don't know that I am a little bit of a alcohol historian, the first violation of prohibition happened at exactly 1 minute after midnight when it went into effect. There were already, the Bronfman family already had trucks queued up at the Canadian border ready to bring whiskey illegally into the newly prohibited United States. Well, that was a quick 5 minutes. The New Yorker magazine held a contest to have somebody come up to coin a word to describe this new class of criminal that had sprung up. And not one, but two people came up with the word scofflaw. And I love the word, I love the word, I love the word. So here we go. Now it's time. Let's get going, guys. I need to do what? I need to add 2.5 cups of flour. And what's half a tablespoon? That would be 3, 2.5, 1.5, 1 3/4. Is that correct? 1 3/4. I think that's right. Because there's 3 teaspoons to a tablespoon. Look at me doing math in my head. There we go. So yes, I have some fuzzy slurry going on here. My yeast does seem to be alive. Oh no, it's popping right back up. It's all gonna be okay. So let's see, I'm gonna just make this a little easier on myself. And as I measure these guys out, I'm gonna put them in here, into this, so that I can put it right back into my bowl all at once. And then we'll see. So I'm gonna need at least 1 cup of flour, right? Yep, I'm gonna need 2. I may be doing this in a foolish way, but you know, I'm not much of a baker, so I'd like to try to be somewhat more specific. I mean, I can bake brownies and cookies and stuff, but I don't know. Let's see what we've got happening here. Okay, fresh flour. All right, so there's my 2, it looks like. Let me see what this happens when I do this. We're just a little shy of 2. So I'm gonna go here. And what do I think? I need 2.5. That should get my half. Too much. Those of you who are bakers are sitting here thinking, oh, she's just packing it in to the point where she'll eventually be able to get it all in there. So now I'm going to do a little salt. Okay. I'm going to go here. Whoops, that is bad thing. There we go. That's probably more like it. Just a little extra. Can't hurt too much, can it? What's the worst that can happen? Things have to be kind of idiot-proof. For a smart girl, sometimes I can really foul things up. So anyway, here we go. There, that's in there. Now I'm supposed to use a spatula to create some kind of I can't remember what the word it was that she says, a shaggy dough. I don't know what a shaggy dough is, but I think I'm going to learn soon. Here we go. Oh, yes. So now this is going to grow, they say. It's going to ask me to put extra virgin olive oil in a pan and turn it out into it and then cover it and let it sit. Now it says that we can let it sit at room temperature to rise for 3 to 4 hours, or that you can put it in the fridge for 8 hours, all the way up to a full day. So now I know I don't normally do a Sunday in these last several weeks, but if I'm going to be baking off some focaccia, I might have to check in. All right, so this is shaggy, I think. All right, so let's see what I'm going to do here. Now I'm going to find, I really should have done this in a different bowl and then used my metal bowl here. That bowl is so big. Used my metal bowl for rising, but I will come here and we'll take the biggest of the bowls and get that nicely cleaned and wipe it out really well. I have washed all of these bowls a few times in the last few weeks, so I don't think we have to worry about anything being too particularly filthy. So, and then I need to coat this bowl with some oil. And I'm going to turn it around and around and around goes the oil. All around and around and around goes the oil. Ta-da! All right, so I guess this is the reason that they want you to use a spatula so that you can get all of your shaggy dough down here into, oh, that's nice. And the oil is creating like a little rim around. Oh, this is pretty. Okay, so there we go. So now my dough is sitting here in a little pool of olive oil. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I'm going to cover this. And like I said, I'm going to go with the overnight method, which I think would be great. Patience surely will reward me. And then there's then a finishing step that I just want to mention in this recipe before we step away for the day. And that is that it says that we should have butter for 2 reasons. Then that we're going to finish this with a garlic butter after it comes out of the oven. And so I'm thinking, why wouldn't I go ahead and make that today so that that is ready to go on and fully incorporated of the flavor, right? And maybe even that gets, see, I can't follow a recipe because I'm already thinking about how to change it to make it more appealing to me. I'm terrible that way. Lord have mercy. It must drive people crazy. How do y'all stand me? So anyway, there's that story. So maybe I won't make the garlic butter in advance. Maybe I'll try to do it the way that it says to do it. So again, this says that I've got no dry streaks in here, as it says. It's a shaggy dough. I've put my olive oil. It's in the fridge. I'm going to transfer it. Oh, and then we have to, oh, I missed a step. It says to turn it in the oil to coat it. So let's do that. See how I'm bad. I don't know how to do this. Maybe I need my spoon back. Here we go. I really am a good student who is able to follow directions and do well on tests, but sometimes, I guess, of course, I'm going to give myself the little bit of break that I did intend to do something entirely different up until about 7 minutes before this show when I walked in from my morning out in the street. So let's give me that break. How about that, right? I'll give myself that break. Here we go. And I'm going to get the last because I think dough is important here. Okay, I like this even more now that it is coated in olive oil. It even looks more appealing and is making me think about all the things I want to say about the fact that I'm not sure why we're going to introduce butter into this, except maybe for the browning on the bottom. But anyway, so here's my nice big shaggy dough, all covered in olive oil. And I'm going to put it in the fridge. And I'm going to pray that the gods of fermentation get to work for me and make my bread big. So I'm going to try to leave that alone for the day. This makes me think about at Babylon Store, and the bakers there are just amazing. And they very often will take like whole onions, like big, great, scallions, and wrap bread around them and bake the bread with them in them, and just so beautiful. So I'm hopeful that my bread will turn out beautifully. So I know that this is, oh wow, that was much longer than I intended for it to be. But I guess you have to wait for the yeast to activate and stuff. So let's see who's here today. Hello, Caroline and Denise. And oh, Doc has us on the big TV. Oh my gosh, is that scary? Me in 60 inches has got to be scary, right? Hello, Donnie and Aaron and Amy. You guys, thank you all for coming. So again, check in with me tomorrow and we'll find out how my bread turned out, and or at least how my dough turned out, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll all be good. Now I told you, I can't follow a recipe without wanting to change it. One of the things I love on about focaccia is rosemary, and so I got some fresh not fresh rosemary, but a new container of dry rosemary to put on this in addition to the garlic, which you know how I feel about garlic. So anyway, guys, that's my story, and it's a really beautiful day in the Northeast. So get up, get out, get a walk. I am going to ask for everybody to focus all of your best good wishes and healing. My sweet, sweet neighbor Tom took a spill a couple of days ago and has evidently shattered all the bones here. He is a pretty much world famous hair cutter. So again, you know, whatever you can do to send good wishes and healing wishes and pain-free wishes to him, we would appreciate it here at 16th Street and 7th Avenue. So guys, remember the mantra: as long as we are here and we are trying to take care of ourselves and our fellow man, take care of yourselves, get some exercise, eat beautiful food. I read today that the #1 indicator of a poor response to a COVID infection for people under the age of 50 is being overweight. So the one thing you can do right now, you can't change the needle immediately, but you can clean up your diet. So clean up your diet, boys and girls. Mwah. Eat good food, go out for a walk, stretch your legs, stretch your bones, read for pleasure, cook something new. That's really, you know, evidently that's good for your brain when you do things new. So thank you guys. Hello, cousin, welcome. So for those of you who came in late, I got my focaccia dough started this morning, and I'm hopeful that it'll all be beautiful. So anyway, guys, thanks so much, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for a special focaccia baking segment. Ciao.